Hello everyone, this is Luke, Stigmaster Luke. Maybe you've heard, DreamWorks' latest movie, How to Train Your Dragon 2, will be in theaters June 13th. And in celebration, I'm gonna do a How to Code Your Dragon. So, let's get started, right? So, here I am, Roblox Studio. Let's open a new place. I mean, you can open up one of your current places, doesn't matter. But for this tutorial, I'm gonna be in a clean slate. Make it grassy, paint it green. Okay, so here I have the Explore, Properties, and Output pane open for coding. You can open these up right here by checking these little boxes. Alright, so once you've got the model, once you've taken it, you can open up your toolbox, go to Search, and then click My Models, and here it should be the first one will be Toothless, the dragon that we will be making breathe fire. And the main character of How to Train Your Dragon 2. He's so I love dragons. Alright, so is there a dragon? First we want to start off by putting a script. Need a script. So I right clicked on Toothless, insert new script. And whenever you're starting a new script, it's good to put your name at the top, just so if anyone's reading your code, they know who to refer to if they have any questions about your code. I like to start off by making a variable called sp, which is just a link to script.parent. So whenever I say sp, it's the same thing as saying script.parent. Okay, so we gotta envision what we want to do before we can actually code what he's gonna do. Just so that you, it's better to think things through twice and code it once than to think things through once and code it twice. So what we want to do is have him breathe fire, right? So the fire, we're going to spawn a part in his head, and it's gonna be in his head, and it's gonna shoot in the direction of his head, and it's gonna have fire object inside of it, and it will hurt anything it touches. I think that's a pretty good understanding of what we're going to be doing. So we're going to need a function that spawns this part. Alright, and let's, like I said, spawn a part. We're going to name the variable Fireball. Fireball equals instance.new part, so we're making a new part, and we're gonna name it. We're gonna name it effect. I like to name it effect. You can name it Fireball if you like, but just remember whatever you name it. I'm going to call it bright orange. Now, we're thinking about this fire. What is fire? What is this part going to be? It's going to be a sphere, and it's going to be about 2 by 2 by 2 in size, and it's going to be orange, and it's going to have fire in it, and it's going to be moving, shooting out of his face, out of his mouth, right? Okay, so what did we say? Fireball dot size equals, it's 2 by 2 by 2 in size. Its shape is ball. At least I think that's what it's called. Let's check what the shape properties of a part is. So I clicked a part when it doesn't matter, and then in the properties pane I'm going to scroll down and shape right here. Yeah, it is called ball, not sphere. I just wanted to make sure. Hopefully I didn't just change it. Yeah. Okay, so it is going to be a ball shape, and it's going to be 2 by 2 by 2. And we're going to make it can collide false, so it doesn't get caught up in the model that it's coming out of. So physically it won't collide with anything. Like it won't bounce off of anything, but it will be flying through the air. We're going to set C frame C-frame is like its position and rotation in one value. We're going to set C-frame to the head C-frame. So we haven't defined the head. Let's make sure that the script.parent has a head. So local Alright, so we've defined the head by doing script.parent wait for child, which waits to make sure that the head is here in the model. And so head is now equal to the head. And we're going to set the fireball C-frame to the head C-frame. So it's going to be in the same position whenever we make it as the fireball. As the head. The fireball is going to be the same position as the head. And we're going to make it shoot out of his head. So fireball.velocity equals vector 3. So we want to shoot in the same direction as his head. So actually we're going to do look vector is a property of C-frame, which is a property of head. So look vector is the direction that a C-frame is facing. So this is the direction of the head. So that's the velocity that's going to be coming out of his head, or that's the direction that it's going to be moving. And we're going to want to give it a speed of 50. So it's going to be flying out of his face at 50 studs per second, like fire. Alright. And fireball dot parent equals game.workspace. So we got to make sure it actually exists, so we're going to put it inside of workspace, because if you don't define the parent, it doesn't exist. And let's see, we're gonna want to, let's try it out actually. So to try it out, we're gonna make a loop. It's gonna wait 2 seconds, and it's gonna breathe fire. So pretty much what happens when the script runs, when the game starts, it's gonna go down every single line, and this is all instantaneously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're gonna define SP as script.parent. And then line 8, define head as script.parent, wait for child head, so it's head of the model. It's just like a shortcut. And then we're defining the function breathe fire. It's not actually doing this, it's just defining what happens when you call the function. So fireball is a new part, and then we define its name property as effect, sprite color is orange, shape is ball, size 2 by 2 by 2. Make sure it can collide false, so it doesn't bounce off of anything. And then define its position, where it is being created, and then how fast it's going and in which direction it's moving, and then putting it into workspace. Also the default part, its top surface is studs. If you look at the base plate, it's got these studs on it, and the bottom surface is always inlets. So I don't think it'd look nice if Fireball had studs or inlets on it, so we gotta set those to smooth. Alright, so I just defined the top and bottom surface as smooth, and I think that's it. Let's go try it. Oh yeah, so yeah, it defines a function and then gets caught up in this while true do loop. So at line 26, it's going to repeat line 27, 28 continuously, and it's never going to get down here because it's going to be doing these two lines. So it's going to wait 2 seconds and then breathe fire, and then wait 2 seconds and then breathe fire. Just going to keep doing that. So let's test it out. Tools, test, play solo. And I do realize that I'm moving really quickly. Just trying to, move quickly so that you can pause it if you need to look at something more in depth. So yeah, he's shooting a fireball. It's not very amazing actually, because we forgot to add the fire. So you're just shooting an orange part. Let's go add the fire. So we're making a variable called fire, which is a new fire object. And we're going to set the fire object into fireball. Let's test it out again. Tools, test, play solo. Check it out. It's got fire on it. Maybe we should remove the ball, make the ball transparent so all you see is a fire. That might look a little bit nicer. Needs sounds. We can add sounds later. But there we go. He's shooting fire. Let's make it do damage because it currently doesn't. So to do this, we're going to want a new script. Actually, let's name our first script. The character name and then main script. You can name it whatever you like. It's just for organizational purposes. And then we're going to make a new script and we're going to name it Fireball script. The script does matter, or the name does matter now, because we're going to be using its name. So you can name it whatever you like still, but make sure that you remember its name. Well, I mean, you can see it, but so what we're doing actually now is we're going to make a script that goes inside of each fireball. So every time we make a fireball, we're going to put the script inside of it, and this script is going to check to see whatever it hits, it's going to deal damage to. So I've defined script.parent again, just to make things a little bit quicker. So SB, there's an event on all parts. It's called touched, and we're going to connect that to a new function called burn, I guess we could call it. So we're going to make a new function, burn. So whenever the script.parent, which will be the fireball, is touched, it's going to call the function burn. Also, the touch event gives the function a part, or another variable, a parameter. And we're just going to name that hit. So whatever the script.parent hits, it's going to call burn and give you, and hit's going to be whatever it touches. So we're going to make sure that hit exists and hit.parent exists, so it's in workspace, or that it just exists. Common checking, so it doesn't give you errors. And then we want to check to see if it hits a humanoid. So to do that, we're going to look for a humanoid. Humanoid is equal to find first child. This is a safe way of checking if something exists, is by using find first child. Because if you do hit.parent.humanoid, it might error if humanoid doesn't exist. So that's why we're doing find first child, and then you gotta check to make sure it came back as true. So if humanoid, that checks to make sure it exists or not. If it doesn't exist, then it's not going to do what's inside of here. There's a function on humanoid called take damage. So we're going to use that to deal damage. I'm just going to put in 23, I guess. So whenever this fireball hits a part, it's going to check to see if the part.parent, so let's say it hits someone's leg, it's going to go to its parent, which would be the character, and then look inside the character for a humanoid. That's what it's doing right here. And then we're going to check to see if the humanoid exists, and if it does, we're going to deal damage to it. 23 damage. I don't see any errors. Let's test it. It's okay if there are errors. It'll tell you an output, and you can just fix them. Oh, here we go. Oh, here is a typo. There's only one N in connect. At least I only put one N, so I gotta fix that. Put another N here. Do another test solo. Oh, what did I do now? touch is not a valid member of model. Oh, you know what? It's kind of silly. I forgot. Right now this script is just inside of Toothless, inside of this guy. We could actually disable this, and we're going to clone it and put it inside of the fireballs. So what it was trying to do, it was trying to run this script inside of Toothless instead of inside of a fireball. So it was trying to use the touched event on a model, which doesn't exist. Touch events only exist in parts. So we're going to put this script inside of Toothless. I mean inside of the fireballs that we're making. So fire script is equal to, let's make sure it exists first. We're going to make a variable for it. Fireball script. Fireball script. So we're going to wait for it just like we wait for the head. And then down here we're going to clone it. Fire script equals fireball script clone. So we're cloning this one. Oh, I made this one disabled because this one isn't going to be working. We're going to enable the ones that we put into the fireball. So the main one is disabled so it doesn't try running inside Toothless. Fire script dot parent equals fireball. Fire script dot disabled equals false. It's kind of like a double negative, but this means that you're enabling the fire script that you're putting inside of the fireballs. Let's test it out. So it should be putting this new fire script inside of the fireballs, and this will, if the fire hits anything, it's going to deal damage to it. Oh, he shot himself. Okay, let's fix this. So what we want to do, open the fireball script. We want to make sure that hit and hit.parent.name doesn't equal Toothless. So the fireballs will never hurt anything that's called Toothless. So if your name is Toothless, you're not going to get hurt. So lucky for this guy that's shooting the fire, he's not going to get hurt by the fire that he's spitting out. And then also, remember how we named the fireball effect? And also, we're going to check to make sure it doesn't hit anything named effect. And then we're also going to make sure it doesn't hit anything that's named handle, because normally hats and gear, the part that is the hat and gear is called handle, so we want to ignore those as well. So let's do those checks here. If hit.name doesn't equal handle and hit.name doesn't equal effect. So you'd use whatever you name the fireball, which is defined right here. Okay, so now he shouldn't shoot himself, and the fireball should go through my hats, and it shouldn't, I don't know, if it were to hit another effect of some kind, it would just go through it and ignore it. Let's test it out. Oh gosh, he one-shot me because the touched event happened on every single part of my body. So we gotta add something called a debounce, so it only deals, each fireball only deals the damage once. So to do this, we make a new variable. Local debounce equals true. You can name the variable whatever you like, just debounce is more descriptive of what it is, because it is. So we're going to make sure that debounce is equal to true, and then it's going to continue. And then we're going to make it equal to false. So what happens is this, it will only pass this line once, and then it will never be able to pass again, because debounce will be set to false after the first time it runs through. And then let's also remove the fireball after it hits. So script.parent destroy. Destroy is a function on parts. Destroy will just remove the fireball or whatever you're calling it on. So if the fireball hits me, it will only deal damage once, and then it will remove itself. Or if it hits the ground, it will remove itself. So you see he shot me once, did about 23, there's another 23, and another 23. But the fire gets removed immediately. So it's coming out and then it's getting removed. To make the particles last a little bit longer, we're going to do this trick where we find the fire inside of the fireball. Alright, so what we did here is we disable the fire, or we set enable to false, which means that it won't emit any more particles, but it'll let all the particles that are existing in the air dissolve into smoke and look really cool. And then, because if you remove the part, it immediately moves all the effects that are flying through the air, all the fire particles. So what happens is we wait 2, which lets the smoke, kind of dissolve. Actually, let's make it 3. And we also want to leave the part where it was, so we anchor it in the space. Let's try it out. Here we are. And you can see how the smoke still exists. It still persists after he shoots it out. Right? That's beautiful. Because what was happening before is the second it hit the ground, all these particles that are floating in the air would get removed. So we added this bit of code, and it saved us. And now, it looks like how you code them to shoot fire. Let's try something cool before we go. You can mess around with the code, do whatever you like. So why not make them shoot a bunch of fireballs all at the same time? Alright, and then let's give them different velocity. So instead of shooting out 50 studs per second, we're gonna make them shoot at a random number between 30 and 70. So that when he shoots 5 at a time, they're gonna not all be in the exact same spot. So here's our toothless. He's shooting a bunch of fire. It's kind of hard to tell. Maybe if I put him in the air a bit. Oh, he's not anchored. Anchor him. Put him up in the air. Oh yeah, he's breathing fire. It's pretty good. If I stand in his path, I'm getting hit by the fire. Yep. So that's how you make fire breath. Breathe in fire. How to Train Your Dragon 2 in theaters June 13th. Super excited. I love dragons. Alright, well, next tutorial will be how to make him fly. We're going to make him follow you and shoot where you point. But this is how he breathes fire. See you guys next time.